And welcome to KOIN Conversations. I'm Ken Boddy. We're here to talk entrepreneurship, particularly black entrepreneurship, with a person who's highly invested in that space. We'll also talk about how black businesses can integrate into the larger society economically. Now, among other roles that we will talk about, he has been an entrepreneur. He's worked for the City of Portland's development agency, Prosper Portland, and he's also a business coach as well. He's also the founder of Pitch Black. That is a Shark Tank type event. It's at Portland Center Stage at the Armory this year on Thursday, August 21st. His name is Stephen Green. Stephen Green, welcome to KOIN Conversations.
Thanks for having me, Ken. Happy to be here, man.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your background. What brought you to this space, especially black entrepreneurship?
Both my parents were entrepreneurs, so they both worked in technology, and so I got a front row seat to seeing what it looked like to be your own boss.
And what is Pitch Black? What happens there? That's the event that's coming up on the 21st. What happens with Pitch Black?
Yeah, so with Pitch Black, we like to say that it's a collision of two different shows: Shark Tank, which you mentioned, and then America's Funniest Home Videos. So in Shark Tank, generally the sharks, the investors, are the center of the show, but with Pitch Black, we make those founders the center of the show. And akin to what happens with America's Funniest Home Videos, instead of the sharks picking the winners, the audience picks the winners with Pitch Black.
Now, do they win prizes?
We give out cash. So in the last 10 years, we've given out almost $1 million in grants to black businesses all over the country.
And what does that do for those businesses? How does this get them started?
Yeah, I want to say the most important thing that we do is not only the money, but it's the recognition in your own city. So putting people on a stage in front of their family, friends, and neighbors is a real opportunity for them to highlight what their idea is and where they're going with it. And the cash doesn't hurt. So we our first show, we gave out, I think it was $312. And next week we'll give out over $80,000.
So what is your purpose with Pitch Black? What are you trying to do overall with this effort?
Yeah, we really want to help ecosystems reimagine what it means to be a black-owned business. So, I think oftentimes when you're in Portland, you think of going to Northeast Portland, you think of going to maybe your favorite restaurant or a place to get your hair cut. But we also have black-owned drone companies and technology companies and construction companies that are doing amazing things. And so our goal is to help shine a light on the work that they do so more people in the city can know what they're doing.
Have you had any successes over the years?
We have. So our first winner is a gentleman named Tyrone Poole. I'm a recovering banker. I was his banker back in the day, and he started his first business while he was homeless in a homeless shelter. He went on to solve a very real problem for people that are struggling to find housing, transitioning from being houseless. And so he won our first event. He's gone on to raise millions of dollars for his business and is doing really, really well.
Now, you started Pitch Black in 2015.
Yes, sir.
And since then, the concept has grown to other cities. So tell me about that.
Yeah. So one of the things we realized pretty quickly was the money's great, but the most important capital for business owners to scale and expand is really social capital. And so when we go and hold events in other parts of the country, we take founders from Portland with us, so they can go and build that social capital so they can expand their business from, their local neighborhood in Northeast Portland or in Beaverton to opening up shops in Seattle or Philadelphia or Austin.
Why is that important? Why is this space so important for you?
It's about building resiliency and telling stories. I think as our businesses grow and see some success, I want to see that be multi-generational. And so when you're going and helping a business expand into another part of the country, that plumbing failure that might happen in their spot here in Portland doesn't affect them as much because they've got their revenue coming in from other places of the country as well.
What do you see as kind of the environment for black business in Oregon? Because, we don't have a large black population here. But, just by being a part of the community, I noticed that there are a lot of people doing some really cool things.
We do. No, it's exciting. When you look at the data from the Census Bureau, Oregon's home to more than 8,000 black-owned businesses. In the last 10 years, that the number has more than tripled. And so you got a lot of people that are, taking the idea that they had at their kitchen room table and turning it into something where they're going and getting customers outside of their house and opening a brick and mortar or putting something online. And so I think, our work in supporting them hopefully allows more people to dream a little bit bigger and push go on the idea that they have.
Is there any particular category of business that black business people seem to gravitate towards, or is it all over the map?
It's all over the map. And when you go and you look at the categories, professional service, construction, it's similar to other demographics in the community as well. One of the things that really pops out when you start looking at black businesses, nationally, the fastest growing segment of businesses is black woman-owned businesses. That's the fastest growing number of businesses, but they're doing it with a decreasingly amount of revenue. And so our goal is not only to just help people start, but really allow them to scale and raise the level of what they're doing.
Now, when you talk about scale,
Yeah.
what is that? What does it mean to scale?
It depends on your business, but when I say scale, getting new customers. And so for a food business that may be opening up a cart at the farmer's market on the other side of town, for another business that might be finally launching a website so that the people that were visiting from LA a couple weeks ago can go and buy your stuff online, and they weren't able to do that before. And so when you scale, you're building resiliency, and you're building the opportunity for your business to be around longer and profitable.
Yeah, we're also doing this in the context of here in Portland. We're having struggles overall business, especially when you talk about the downtown central core.
Yeah.
So, how do you see where we are in terms of being able to create businesses that stay and grow?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, every market has winners. I majored in economics while I was in school, and looking at a market like what we have right now in downtown, it's a struggle if you own real estate. But for a lot of business owners, they can finally afford to open up a space in downtown Portland, and that wasn't an option 10 years ago. So in the last 12 months, we've seen 5 black-owned coffee shops open up in downtown Portland. That I don't think if the market wasn't depressed from a cost standpoint, I don't know if they would have opened up downtown. And so every market has its negative externalities, but also positive externalities as well.
Yeah, we see some of that dynamic happening in the Lloyd Center area.
Yes, sir.
With the Lloyd Center Mall. We don't know what the plans are ultimately going to be. We know that there's going to be a music venue at one end on the west end of the mall. But right now, there are small entrepreneurs, small businesses that are occupying the spaces that were once occupied by these, Macy's and Nordstrom and all these other spaces. So what do you see happening there?
It's moments like this where people can reimagine and partner in opportunities that they may not otherwise do. Shout out to Stupid Burger. They're one of those black-owned businesses that is going and reimagining what it means to be at Lloyd Center and bring people there. And I don't think the opportunity would exist if there wasn't the depressed things that were happening at that mall. And so out goes Nordstrom's, in comes Stupid Burger. One business, has some retraction, but another one has an opportunity to expand and reach more customers.
Do you see that as a model that could sustain itself in the future? And, obviously those businesses are not going to be there forever because that area is going to be redeveloped. So what happens to those businesses once that mall is redeveloped into whatever it's going to be, mixed use or whatever the case may be?
Yeah, Ken. I mean, it's not too dissimilar from what you see in food cart culture here in Portland. Food carts were a manifestation of a short-term usage in the 80s when we thought we were going to see all these high-rise buildings come into downtown. And so as an interim use, they brought in these food carts. And lo and behold, they became kind of the identity and part of how we think about downtown. For the businesses that are at Lloyd Center, it's an opportunity for them to get better at what they make, what they sell, and how they talk about it. It's an opportunity for their staffs to get skilled. And so even if it is short term, they'll be better off as a business wherever they go to next.
What are the biggest impediments to black business success here in Oregon? What would you say?
I think the hardest thing to do is just to start. We've got those 8,200 businesses that have done that, and I think they've crossed the mark for the hardest thing to do. But it's never an easy time to run a business. I don't believe, regardless of your ethnicity. I think being seen, it's hard to be what you don't see, and so one of the roles we try and play with Pitch Black is making sure that Black technologist or chemist has an opportunity to see themselves before they go and push go on their idea, so they can go and make it a reality.
Yeah, when you think about just the grit that it takes to start a business, I've never been an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But I appreciate people who go into that space and take the risks. So,
Yeah.
what are the characteristics, the personal characteristics that it takes in order to be successful?
I think the things that we look at and see in successful entrepreneurs are also the things that we need to kind of survive and thrive as Black folks. So a fresh perspective, ability to communicate with others, ability to push through adversity, and your ability to function outside of the box. And so I think, our time here and seeing ourselves oftentimes siloed and isolated is actually a pretty good proving ground for someone to become a founder.
Now, you actually grew up in the Portland area,
Yes,
went
sir.
to high school around here. You say you went to
Aloha. Shout out Warriors.
Aloha High School.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
But you actually lived in North and Northeast as
I
well.
live in Woodlawn. Yeah, I've lived in Woodlawn for the last 20 years.
And what do you see in terms of the Black community physically? Obviously, a lot of us have been displaced, especially people who grew up here. I'm not originally from here, but
Right,
know the
right,
stories,
right.
of course. And you got a number of people who are trying to bring folks, especially business, back into that area. How do you see that?
I think it's a both and. It's fascinating living in Northeast Portland, but now seeing that, Beaverton School District has more Black students than Portland Public Schools does. If you went back to the 1990 census, 80% of the state of Oregon's Black population lived in 2 zip codes, 97211 and 97212. That's not true anymore for a number of reasons. And so I think one of the opportunities that you see manifesting with the work of Albina Vision Trust and 1803 Fund and also with what we're doing with Pitch Black is how can we create these spaces where people can come together, whether they're living in Cornelius or Hillsborough or whether they're a Jefferson demo, and create these spaces for community where people can be seen and also support businesses.
Well, that's part of the concept behind the gathering, which happens
Yes, sir.
a week after the Pitch Black event.
Yes, sir.
So tell us about the gathering. What's that all about, and what do you hope to do with that?
Yeah, the gathering's a pretty simple model. It was started back in the late 2000s to support a business called Oliver Twist in the Pearl. It's the oldest standing Black-owned business in the Pearl. And once a month, Black men get together to connect, build community, and support a Black-owned business. We do it the last Wednesday of every month. This year, we'll be doing our 3rd year of joining the ladies. And so August is the 1 month out of the year where it's the co-ed version. And so there'll be about 500 of us getting together over at Jackie's in Southeast Portland to connect and build community and support a local Black-owned business.
Yeah, I hope to see you there.
Yes, sir. Well, I hope I don't get COVID again because I missed it last year after all the
missed
planning.
it last year because of COVID. Yeah, COVID kind of messed things up for a lot of people. No
Yes,
doubt
sir.
about it over the last few years. You mentioned the 1803 Fund, Albina Vision Trust.
Yeah.
Let's start with 1803. That's Rukiah Adams' group.
Yeah.
And that was the one that was seeded with the $400 million from Phil Knight.
Yes, sir.
From Nike. So what do you see as their future and how it could fit into what you do in terms of Black entrepreneurship?
I think you got to have people on multiple sides of the table. As a kid, my dad used to tell us there's 2 kinds of people in the world, those that sign the front of the check and those that sign the back. I think 1803 is signing the front of the check to help those of us that are having to sign the back. And so it's an opportunity to scale our community and create multi-generational wealth that hasn't existed before.
And the multi-generational wealth aspect of things, I mean, that's really important. That's something that's been lacking in our community over generations.
I feel like it's something that hasn't been talked about a lot. I don't know if it's been lacking. I think there's a number of examples of people that have been successful in our community, but I do think there's a certain intentionality that Rakai and her team are bringing to the table that really hasn't been out there that I've experienced. And so going out and being able to think and plan and do big is not something that I think a lot of us have had the opportunity to do here in Portland, and the work that they're doing allows us to do that.
Yeah, and I've had a number of conversations with Rakaya, and that is her mindset to do big things in the community. You talk about scale. She's looking at things that are of a large scale that will make a difference, a lasting impact for generations to come. No doubt about that. So I'm interested in seeing how how it progresses, how it goes forward, and what kind of things that we'll physically be able to see coming out of 1803. That should be quite interesting, I would think.
No, I'm really, really excited, and I think them starting with a team and a community around them that's got street cred and relationships and trust in the community is the perfect foundation to have in order to do that work.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's talk about Albina Vision Trust along those same lines. They took a hit, losing some $450 million in federal grants that they were expecting for that effort. Not to say that money won't come at some point in the future, but right now they're thinking about how they move forward. Yeah. But what's your understanding of their vision and what they're trying to do?
Winta, their executive director, explained it, pretty plainly. Imagine a place in Portland that loves Black people. And so, they've got 92 acres, I believe, that they've identified as their target area. And yes, losing the federal funds as of right now is a tough hit. But I also think it's really perfect timing that they're involved and connected with the Trailblazers and the Allen family in reimagining what's going to go on around the Moda Center. And so I'm excited to see what comes of the sale of the Trailblazers, but also how we can reimagine what it means to not only have a stadium there, but really have that stadium be built and connected to a thriving community. And so they've got their first building opening up here shortly, and so their work is ripping and running. And so there's always going to be some headwinds that you have, but I'm really confident in the team that they have moving forward.
We're going to take a break right now. We'll be right back with our conversation with entrepreneur, venture capitalist, and general business expert Stephen Green. We'll be right back. Welcome back to KOIN Conversations. We're talking with Stephen Green, entrepreneur and venture capitalist, and we are going to continue to talk about Black businesses and how they're integrating into the larger society here, the development of Black businesses. And Stephen, venture capital. You've been a venture capitalist as well. Talk about securing financing for the ideas once you realize that, this is an idea that could work and can move forward and make money.
I think it's important to put all our financial tools in proper context. Nationally, less than 0.1% of U.S. businesses ever raise equity of any kind. And so venture capital, angel investing is something that's a very, very small slice of the overall pie. And also nationally, very few businesses actually get loans. The number one funder of businesses around the United States are these crazy things called customers. And so a lot of my time I spend in talking to folks that are looking to raise capital is actually helping them think about how to raise capital from customers. How do we, help them build an MVP that gets it in front of customers so they can get feedback as close as early as humanly possible.
Yeah. How difficult is it to develop the marketing that attracts those customers? I know it depends upon the industry itself, but how important is that, and how difficult is that?
In my 20-year financial career, I think now's the best time, the cheapest time, the easiest time to start a business, for good and for bad. Technology, AI, the internet, all these things have made going from you and I having an idea to you and I having a business become a lot faster and a lot cheaper. When I started my career, you had to hire a lawyer to get your LLC set up, as opposed to today, if you wanted to set up an LLC, I can get it done here in the next 10 minutes, just using the internet, right? And so from that perspective, it's opened the door for a lot more people to think about the idea of being an entrepreneur. When it comes to going and getting customers, that's different. And I think oftentimes for newly minted founders, they think if I make it, they will come. That doesn't generally happen. That's not how it works. And so you got to spend a lot of time thinking about, who am I solving a problem for? Is it really a problem, or do I just think it's a problem? And then most importantly, are they willing to spend money to get that problem solved?
Yeah, no doubt about it. And being in broadcasting, we know that marketing is a very important part of what we do. People have to know what we're offering in order to be able to take advantage of it. So that's why we still deal with ratings and all that kind of all those things in order to kind of quantify the results that we're able to bring. In a business sense, is it just sales and profit? Are those the metrics, the only metrics that are important?
The recovering banker me would say cash is king, trust is queen. And so, you don't pay for things with revenue. You don't pay for things with profit. You pay for things with cash. And so as a business owner, you got to figure out, how, cash moves through your business and how you're bringing it in and how you have more of it today than you had yesterday. So that you can pay your bills and become profitable.
Yeah. What do you see as your immediate future? What are your goals in this space in terms of aiding Black entrepreneurship and being an impetus for success?
I think, my immediate goal and our goal with our company with Vanport Studio is to allow, specifically Black and Latin business owners to think and do bigger, similar to what 1803 is doing on a much larger scale. For us, how do we help that business owner go from that smallerish idea to really thinking and planning on the bigger idea? It's the same amount of effort. It's the same amount of stress. Why not do it bigger and build some resiliency and connect with more potential customers for your business?
Yeah. Do you think in terms of the Black entrepreneurs being their own ecosystem, and how do you integrate what they're doing into the larger community?
Yeah, I think for all entrepreneurs, your peer mentors are probably the biggest cheat code that you could have. And so if you're a Black entrepreneur, a female entrepreneur, a rural entrepreneur, how can you connect with other folks that are doing things similar to you, a little bit ahead of you, a little bit behind you? Those are the folks that are not only going to be able to help answer the questions that you have, but also help find answers to the questions you don't even know to ask. And so, how do we, create close cohorts of entrepreneurs so that they can learn from one another, go through the hard times with one another. And sometimes those hard times is like, it's time to close up shop and move on to the next thing. But do that with an informed standpoint, and a supportive environment.
You're a business owner and entrepreneur yourself. So
Yes, sir.
What do you like to do? What motivates you?
I'm a builder. I'm a guy that, not only has the idea, but wants to go build it and see it flourish out in the community, even if it lasts only a weekend. I think there's few things that are more gratifying than coming up with an idea at your kitchen room table and then having complete strangers go and pay their hard-earned money for it. I was on a flight a couple of years ago, and I was going through Boston Airport, and somebody had a pitch black shirt on. And we've never done a pitch black event in Boston before. But it just stopped me in my tracks of, the thing that my wife and I and some friends were talking about is now, 3,000 miles away. People are seeing that thing out live in the wild.
And I know that gives you a lot of satisfaction when you see that happen. And you say you've never done a pitch black event in that city. So it just means that the concept is catching on for a lot of people. It is.
This year we had our most number of applications for Pitch Black for people to present ever. So we had over 260 applications, and 200 of them came from outside of Oregon. We got applications from Connecticut and Massachusetts and Vermont and Atlanta. And so there's definitely something there. And so we're excited to be curious around what it means to take our brand to other cities across the country.
Yeah, we've all seen Shark Tank, and we kind of know what that's all about. But just describe a Pitch Black event. How is it different from what we've seen on Shark Tank? And just, what's your spin on that whole concept?
So, we say Pitch Black is a celebration. It's not a competition. And so this year we'll have 8 amazing founders come and talk about what they're building. They'll come to an audience that is supportive and loving. They'll ask them some questions after they're done with each of their pitch. Every one of our founders will leave with money for participating in the event, and hopefully some social capital on how they're going to be able to build and leverage other folks to take their business to the next thing. And so it's a happy place. It's a celebration. There are no winners or losers, so to speak. And I hope for the people that are in the audience, their takeaway is, a little broader idea of what it means to be a Black business here in Portland.
And it just sounds like it's fun too, man.
It is. It is. It's just it's a vibe. It's a good time. People will be shocked, and it's cool that we get younger kids that are there as well, and so everyone gets a chance to vote and decide who leaves with the bulk of the money. So we're looking forward to it.
And with the money, is the money raised just through admission to the event, or how do you come up with the money that you award to the different people?
Yeah, so each year we have sponsors and from ticket sales. And so we're always constantly fundraising to see how much we can raise for the winner's pot. So we're even a week and a half out, we're still raising today. But again, when you go and chat with the founders that have been part of the event, the money's great, but getting on a stage and having 600 people from your community cheer you on beats that far and away. So.
All right. Yeah, well, we've only got a few minutes left here, but let's just let people know about Pitch Black. Some people might see this after the event, but this is an annual event. So,
yes, sir.
If people miss it this year, they'll be able to catch it next year.
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But,
so
just give us the details for this year.
Will do. So this year, August 21st, we'll be at the Portland Center Stage, the Armory. 600 plus people will be able to be there and enjoy the event. We also do a smaller event called Pitch Black Food, where instead of people pitching on a stage, they're pitching on a plate. And so we have entrepreneurs select different items for the menu, and then the people that are eating get to choose the winners based off of what they had on their plate. And so we'll have that event coming up again in February 2026.
All right, and then for the gathering, that's about a week later, right?
Yes, the gathering is always the last Wednesday of the month for us, and then there's a ladies' version of the gathering that happens the third Wednesday of the month. People can find out more information about that at thegatheringpdx.com.
All right, and for people who might hear this or see this and want to get in touch with you, find out maybe a little bit more about your company, what you do, those kind of things.
Yeah.
How can people get a hold of you?
Hit me at Stephen@vanportstudio.com. That's STEPHEN at vanportstudio.com. And if you're not able to come to the event, it's still Black Business Month throughout the month of August. Find some Black businesses that you want to go and support. Spend some money there. Leave them a review. Tell your friends about them. Rinse and repeat.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because this is in the context of Black Business Month, which is in August. Does the timing of these events, does that coincide with that, or is it just?
It's a coincidence. We like doing it. So the first Pitch Black we did back in 2015 was in August, right before Black Restaurant Week, an event that we used to have here. But I want to call that out because it's the little things that are actually the big things that make an impact. Here in Portland, Portland residents spend $5.5 million every day just on food. So imagine if we decided we want to spend that food money in Sellwood or with women-owned businesses or with Black-owned businesses, that would have a huge financial impact for those businesses. So it's great the work that we're doing. It's great the work that the Rakais of the world are doing. But again, the most important thing you can do is just go buy their stuff.
All right. Well, Stephen Green from Vanport Studio, thank you very much for being on KOIN Conversations. We look forward to the events. And, hey, very enlightening. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, Ken.